Hey y'all, thank y'all so much for tuning in again. I won't take up no more time. Let's just get into it. Okay, y'all, so just like our skirt, we're going to need our Bernat Maker home decor yarn. You can find that in my Amazon storefront, both this color and black. Our 10mm hook, our measuring tape, our scissors. Y'all know the drill. So now we're going straight into our slip knot. Okay, insert your hook. And now we're going to chain up 19. Now, if you want it cropped, you're going to chain up 19. If you want it a little longer, you could chain 24. If you want to just broad length, honey, you could do probably about 16. I don't know. It all depends on what you're looking for, but mine comes a little bit above my belly button. Okay, now we have our 19 chains, or 24 or 16, whichever length. Now, like the skirt, we're just going to do half double crochets. So you'll insert your first half double crochet into that third chain from the hook. Okay, and just like the skirt, we're just going to continue placing a half double crochet in each chain stitch down the row. If you're following me, you'll have 17 half double crochets in total. I'm going to meet y'all at the end. Okay, and then we're coming up on our last chain. Make sure you're inserting your half double crochet in that last chain. And now we have our first row. Okay, so just like the skirt, we're going to chain one, turn our work, and we're just going to work in, yup, y'all guessed it, the back loops only for the remainder of this top. So we're going to put our first half double crochet in this back loop only, if you're just watching the top video. So the back loop is right there. We're going to take and put our half double crochet in the back loop only, and we'll do the same thing for the remainder of the row. Your half double crochets in the back loops only. Now I'm going to speed it up and meet y'all at the end of row 2. Okay, now we're coming up on that last stitch. Make sure you don't miss it. You want to insert your half double crochet in that back loop only of the last stitch. And now we have row 2, y'all. So from this point on, it just gets simple. Just like the skirt, we're going to continue the same pattern until you reach your measurement of your bust when stretched. I can't stress that enough, y'all. When stretched. So what you're going to do after I finish talking, you're going to pause this video, take your measuring tape, and measure around the widest part of your bust. For me, my measurement came out to 33 inches. So you have two different measurements. You have your measurement of your project when it's not stretched versus when stretched. And that's just pulling your project out to see how far it stretches. So once you have that measurement, you're going to continue the project until you reach that number when stretched, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and do my rules, and I'll meet you back here so that we can close it up. See y'all soon. Okay, y'all, so now your piece should look something like this. Congratulations for making it this far. It was simple, right? So I did 35 rows total, and I'm actually going to show you how it looks once it's stretched. Okay, so this is the project, or I'll say the measurements when it's not stretched. Mine measured out to be around 25 inches. And then when stretched, it got to about 34, which is fine. If it's a little over, it'll still be flattering and fitted just the way you want. Okay, so in the next portion, we're going to be doing our borders just like the skirt. So let's get started on that, y'all. Okay, so now you're just going to re-enter your hook and chain one. And then you're just going to do single crochets all the way across the top of your top. So how I do it to simplify, I'll just insert a single crochet on top of every row. I do sometimes skip a row if I feel like the stitch may have too big of a gap or space once inserting a single crochet, but you don't have to do that. Feel free to, but you don't have to. You can just insert single crochets all the way down the row. And you could pause this video, go ahead and do your single crochets, and I will meet y'all at the end just so it's not repetitive. And yeah, y'all, see y'all at the next point where we're going to bring our panels together. Okay, now we're coming up on that last and final stitch of our border. And this is what it should look like, y'all. Don't worry about it being super duper straight. Nothing is perfect. Now we're just going to work on closing up our top. So you're just going to fold your top just as I did, like shown. And we're going to create the seam. So you want to reinsert your hook back into that loop. And set your project up in a way that's comfortable to you. And then we're just going to chain 1. Okay, we're going to actually flip the top the other way so that we could see the loops that we're going in. We're going to insert our hook into that very top stitch of the border and create a slip stitch, which is going through each loop on your hook individually. Okay, now we have that. We're going to turn our work again facing this way so that way we can see our loops to create that seam. Now we're going to go through each panel, making sure your stitches are aligned. So now we're just going to go in the second stitch on one side, and then we're going to go in the second stitch on the other side. It may be a little further down. And once you have that, we're going to wrap around, pull through that first loop, wrap around, pull through 2, which is also a single crochet. And you'll continue to do this all the way down to close up your top. Okay, and we're coming up on that last and final stitch on both sides of the top. And we're just going to do the same thing to close it up. And this is what it should look like. Don't worry about the seam. You won't be able to see it once we flip it inside out. Okay, so now we're going to do the other side. But for this, we have to flip our top inside out. So I'll just show you how I did it. I flipped my top inside out like this, right? Simple. And then I'm going to insert my hook right back into that loop and make sure my work is facing the right way and that I'm comfortable to continue the border. Right? I'm going to chain 1. And now I'm just going to grab that tail along with me while I'll do the same thing as we did for the top, which was insert a single crochet at the top of every row. And while I'm doing that, I'm just grabbing my tail. This is just optional, but I prefer to grab my tail now so that I don't have to hide it later. So I'm just taking that yarn and grabbing it with me as I'm crocheting in every row across. I hope I'm making sense, y'all. Remember, this part is optional, but I will just speed this up just because I've already shown you how to do the border, and then I'll meet y'all at the end so that I can show you how to close up this particular border. Okay, now we're coming up at the end of our border stitches. So I'm just finishing up, putting my last single crochet in, and now you're just going to join it. So you're going to join it at the top of that first single crochet. Okay, and once you have that, you're going to create a slip stitch. All right, y'all. Now we're good. We have our second border. You're going to go ahead and cut that tassel as long as you want so that you can hide it at the end. Now we're just going to chain one so we can pull that yarn through and pull tightly. Okay, y'all, so now we're about to get into this sleeve, all right? Okay, so I'm just showing y'all a little bit about the top, like how you can't see the seam from the outside. And yeah, y'all, let's get started. So now you're just going to decide which side you want your sleeve on. So you can do the right side or you could do the left side. My left, your right, y'all get me. So for me, I'm choosing the right side. So it's showing on the screen that we're going to be working from our left. So we're just going to grab our yarn strands. We're going to create a slip knot as usual. Okay, and now we're just going to figure out where we're starting at. So find your starting point. It won't be the very middle stitch. It'll be the stitch next to it. Okay? I would say to count stitches, but I know every size is going to be different. So don't go directly in the middle. Go to the stitch either to the left of it or the right of it, depending where you want your sleeve. Okay, I hope I'm making sense. So now you're just going to, okay, so once your hook is there, you're just going to reattach your yarn. Pulling your yarn right back over the hook. You're going to pull that yarn through and create a single crochet to reattach that yarn to your project. Okay, now for my size or any size similar to me, which I would say is kind of like a small medium, for a majority of them, you're going to do 10 half double crochets, maybe 9, maybe 11. All in all, you're just going to do as many half double crochets as it takes to reach the outer end of your project. And I'll show you what I mean in a second. Just keep watching. Okay, and this is just me doing my last half double crochet, which in total came to 10 half double crochets. And as I said, it should line up with the front part of your top. It shouldn't exceed that because then you're kind of getting in the way of where your arm should go. Okay, and now we're just going to chain one, turn our work. And for this next row, we're just going to insert a half double crochet on top of every stitch. For me, that'll just be 10 half double crochets. Once you have your 10 half double crochets, I'll be meeting y'all at the end of the row because we're going to be turning our work and starting our decreases. Okay, I'm coming up on that last stitch to get to my total of 10 half double crochets. You may have a little more, you may have a little less. It'll be fairly similar to mine, but you may have to try yours on as you go along just to make sure that it's fitting your shoulder and your arm tight. Okay, so now we're just going to go ahead into our next row. Inserting our hook back into that loop. We're going to chain one, turn our work. And now we're going to prepare for our first half double crochet decrease. So to do that, you're going to wrap your yarn around your hook, insert it into that first stitch, pick up your yarn and pull it through. You'll now have 3 loops on your hook. Okay? And now you're going to wrap your yarn around again, insert your hook into that next stitch, pull up a loop, and now you'll have 5 loops on your hook. Okay, now you're just going to wrap your yarn around your hook one more time. Now you're going to go through all 5 loops. Take your time because we are working with 2 strands, but it should be fairly easy to go through. And that's your first half double first half double crochet decrease. Now you're going to continue the rest of the row with regular half double crochets. And this will be the same pattern that you can follow no matter how many half double crochets you started with. So for the next row, you'll just chain one, turn your work, starting to get a little repetitive, but we do have some decreases to do. You're just going to do half double crochets all the way down the end of this row. Okay, now we're just going to insert that last half double crochet of the row. We're going to chain one, turn our work, and now we're going to do another half double crochet decrease in these first two stitches. So that's just wrapping the yarn around, putting it through that first loop, pulling up a loop, wrapping yarn around, pulling it through that second loop, pulling up a loop, 5 loops on your hook, wrap around, pull through all 5. And you're going to continue your half double crochets all the way down for the remainder of the row. Okay, now we're putting that last half double crochet in that final stitch. Now y'all guessed it, we're just going to chain one, turn our work, and you're going to do half double crochets for this entire row, and I'll meet y'all at the end of this row. Okay, we're coming up on that last and final half double crochet. Chain one, turn your work, and this is what it should start to look like. You'll start to see it kind of decreasing and going in that diagonal. Okay, now you're going to prepare for your next half double crochet decrease. After that, you'll continue to half double crochet as normal. Okay, now we're going to insert our hook in that last and final stitch. Now we're going to chain one, turn our work, and you're going to half double crochet down this row until you have 2 stitches left on the end. Okay, now we have those last 2 stitches. In these last 2, we're going to be doing a half double crochet decrease. Okay, so just as we've been doing before, just half double crochet decrease in those last 2 stitches of this row. Now you're going to chain one, turn your work, and for this row, it'll be another half double crochet decrease, and then you'll just continue the rest of the row as normal with half double crochets. Okay, so now we're just going to start prepping for it to go over our shoulder down the other side of our back. Okay, so you're just going to chain one, turn your work, and then you're going to half double crochet in the first 3 stitches so that you have 2 stitches left over to do your half double crochet decrease. After that, chain one, turn your work, and we'll be on the next row. Okay, and for this row, you're just going to do half double crochets in each stitch. Then you're going to chain one and turn your work. Okay, and now you'll just do the same thing for this row. You're going to put 4 half double crochets in the next 4 stitches. Chain one, turn your work, and we'll start to prepare for the increases. Okay, we turned our work, and we're just going to do 1 half double crochet in the first stitch, and we're going to put another half double crochet in that same stitch. And then we'll continue to go down the rest of the row as normal with 1 half double crochet in each stitch. Chain one and then turn. Okay, now for this row, you'll just insert 1/2 double crochet in every stitch across, and then when you get to the last stitch of the row, you'll insert 2/2 double crochets in that one stitch, which will be another increase. So we're coming up to it right here, that last stitch, you'll insert 2/2 double crochets in that one stitch. Okay, so after you've chained one and turned your work, you're just going to do 2/2 double crochets in that first stitch, and then 1/2 double crochet as normal down the rest of the row. Okay, and for this row, we're just going to do 1/2 double crochet in each stitch along the row, no increases. Okay, now we've gotten to the end. Chain one, turn your work. Now for this row, we're going to continue with our increases. So we're going to put 2/2 double crochets in that first stitch and 1/2 double crochet in every other stitch as normal down the row. Okay, now we're just going to chain one, turn our work, and now we're going to do 1/2 double crochet in each stitch. Then chain one and turn. Okay, and now for the next row, you're going to do another increase. So 2/2 double crochets in your first stitch. And after that, you'll continue to do the 1/2 double crochets as normal. Okay, for this row, you had your chain one turn. You're going to do 1/2 double crochet in every stitch until you get to the end stitch where you will be doing a increase. And I'll speed it up because it's repetitive. And then you're just going to chain one and turn. Okay, so now for your next row, you have your chain one and turn. And then we're just going to do, or we're going to start this row with an increase. And after that, you'll put 1/2 double crochet in every other stitch down the row. Okay, now we'll just have a look-see at what we have thus far. And this is what it should look like, y'all. It should align almost perfectly because nothing's perfect. It should align with the front side. Okay, now we're just going to attach that to our top. So flip your top inside out so that once we do this, our hem won't show. So you're going to flip your top inside out to the other hem that we did. Now with this, I had to pull my yarn through the top so that the yarn will be on the same side as my project, if y'all get me. I don't know if everybody has to do this, but my yarn was tangled up. So I just had to pull it through my top. So that's what you'll see me doing in a few seconds. Okay, and I pulled that through. And then I just straightened up my top the best way I could so that I could put that, reattach it to the other side. So I just was hiding my toe here so that it wouldn't get in the way. And then make sure that your top is aligned so that your hem is centered as best as you can. Now we're just going to spin this top around so that our work is facing in the direction that we need it to. Okay. So once you're comfortable and you feel confident in your placement, you're just going to insert your hook not into that very bottom stitch, y'all, but the one next to it. And I did insert it there. Okay, so it won't be that very bottom stitch, it'll be the one directly next to it. So once you attach your hook into both of those loops, you're just going to create a slip stitch. And now we're going to do single crochets to close it, just like how we closed how we brought both panels together. So once you align your stitches, you're just going to insert your hook into that next stitch, so that's next available stitch, and then insert it on the other side, pull that through, wrap it around, pull through 2, and that's your single crochet. And you're going to do the same thing here. This should look familiar because we did this to close the top. You're going to do this in every stitch down, so you can reattach, or not reattach, but attach this part of your top to the back. Okay, and now I'm coming up to that last stitch, attaching it to the last stitch on my top. And mine actually did end up aligning with my seam, y'all. I don't know how it happened, but it did. Don't be alarmed if yours didn't. But if you were following along with me and doing my sides, yours should have made it close to that seam. Okay? So once we did that, we're going to prepare to cut our yarn. So grab your scissors and cut your yarn. And then you're going to take your hook, reinsert it. Now chain 1 and pull that tightly to secure it. Now I'm just going to tuck this tail. This is just a for now thing. I'm going to, of course, hide it a little better, but I'm just tucking this tail so that it's not in my way at all once I'm continuing my top. So that's optional. But once you have that, you'll flip your top inside out, and I'm going to hide this tail really quickly. Okay, and then I'm just going to turn my baby around, and this is what it should look like, y'all. She's beautiful. So now let's prepare for our actual sleeve. So you're going to take your yarn, create yet another slip knot, grab your 10mm, and now we're going to flip our top to the back and attach this yarn. So we're going to start, y'all, at the bottom. So you know there's going to be one stitch that's going to be above a row, and then there's going to be a stitch directly next to it. So we're going to go in that stitch directly next to the one that's on top of that row, and I'll insert it. I'll insert my hook right through there. So that's the stitch we want to go into to start. And then to reattach our yarn, we're just going to grab our yarn and pull that through, and then wrap the yarn around, pull through 2. Okay, and now in the next stitch, we're going to do a half double crochet. Okay, y'all, and in the next stitch, we'll do another half double crochet. And that's just the pattern for this, y'all. That's the pattern for the entire sleeve, actually. You're just going to insert a half double crochet into every stitch around so that you can start to see that sleeve shape. I'm just going to fast forward a little bit, and I'll meet y'all right before we get to the end to show y'all another technique that I usually do with this sleeve. And yeah, y'all, it's fairly simple. It's straightforward. You're just going to be inserting half double crochets like shown in every stitch around. Okay, so we're coming up to where we started. But in those last 2 stitches, y'all, we're going to do single crochets. So that's my second single crochet. And now we are where we started, and this is what it should look like. So we're actually going to be going in rounds. So we're going to do a half double crochet on top of that very first half double crochet that we started with. And then we're just going to continue, y'all, doing half double crochets all the way around. Okay, y'all, and I went around another row just doing half double crochets. You'll continue to do those half double crochets. You may have to do some half double crochet decreases if it's too wide. You may also have to do some increases if it's too tight. Just make sure that as you're going in your rounds, you're checking frequently and trying it on, making sure that, you know, it's fitted to your liking. Okay, and once the length of your sleeve reaches about 5 inches from your hand, we're going to start to do those increases so that we get our beautiful wide sleeve. And I'll show y'all how to do that right now. Let's start to make this baby wide. So I'm just going to flip her over like this so that I have a great view of what I'm doing. So this doesn't have to be perfect since we're going in rounds. We're just going to start to increase. Okay. So what you're going to do is half double crochet in that first stitch. Take off this, I feel like it's distracting. And then do another half double crochet in that stitch. Okay. And then we can just continue to go around as normal for about 4 stitches. Okay, and now we're going to prepare for our next increase. So I'm just going to insert 2 half double crochets in the next stitch. So I just inserted 2 half double crochets there, and I'm just going to continue to go around with my half double crochets. Okay. Now I'm back at the bottom. Again, as you can see, it is starting to get a little wider. You know, I'm back at the bottom. So it depends on how wide you want your sleeve to be and how, like, where you want it to start. So I'm just going to continue to go in rounds for a little bit longer. For a couple more stitches, I'll just continue to do half double crochets. And you can really have fun with this, y'all. It's not a right or wrong way to do it. You could follow me and not do any more increases for a little minute, or you could do 2 increases per round. Okay. So I'm just able to look at it by where I end up. So again, I'm back. I'm at the back of my work. So now, since I'm here and I'm at the bottom, the next stitch I'm going to do 2 half double crochets in this stitch. Sorry, I'm like moving it all around. I'm trying to stay in one spot. It's a weird, awkward view. And now I'm just going to do 4 more half double crochets. Okay. And now I'm going to do another increase. Put in 2 half double crochets in the same stitch. Okay. And I'm going to do 4 more stitches. And now for this next stitch, I'm going to put 2 half double crochets to do another increase. Okay, and you can start to see it getting wide there. It's definitely more wide than it was back here. Okay. I'm just going to do 4 more half double crochets. Oops. And now I'm going to do another increase. And now I'm going to do the same pattern. Another increase. Okay. And it is starting to get wider. So you can see, you could tell that it was fitted here and then it was starting to get wider. So you can continue to do that, trying it on. Let's see here. So I do want it to kind of come a little bit to like where my ring is. So I'm just going to continue to go down, increasing until I reach how wide I want my sleeve to be. Okay, so it's no right or wrong way. You can continue to increase around, do as many increases as you want. The more you increase, the wider it gets. The less you increase, you know, it remains the same. So continue to do that, and I'll meet y'all once I do a few more rounds and it gets to maybe about the length of where my ring is. Hey y'all, I wanted to do it just a tad bit longer, but I started to run out of yarn. But here is my sleeve. Okay, I'm just going to show y'all how to close it up. Okay, so I was close to the bottom. It doesn't really matter where you are because you'll still have to hide your tail. So I'm just going to go around a little bit more. Okay, and once I'm there, I'm around. So now I'm just going to, in the last and final stitch, I'm just going to do a slip stitch. So I'm going to insert, pull up a loop, pull through that loop, and I'm going to get my scissors, and I'm going to cut my yarn long enough so that I can have a tail so that I can weave in. And then as always, we're just going to chain 1, pull that tightly, and we're going to hide our tail, and voila, here's our sleeve. Here's our top. She's looking so good. Let me finish hiding the rest of the tails. But I thank y'all so much for watching. Thank y'all for tuning into this one. I know it was a long one, but y'all stuck with me yet again. Thank y'all so much. See y'all for our next tutorial. Be safe.